What's up, everybody? It's your girl Jordan, aka Jay, and I'm back with another episode of Play by Play with Jay. I have a special guest with me. We've been friends for I don't even know how long, but a decent amount of time. I think like a majority of college and our young adulthood years. So I have my guy TJ Joyce on the line. What's up, TJ? Thank you for joining.
Hey, happy to be here. It's been a minute. We haven't zoomed in a minute either. But
No, we haven't seen. We went out to happy hour like a couple. It's a month ago, I think.
yeah,
It
that was
was
like
like
a month ago.
Yeah, but it's been a minute. Yeah, life be lifing, right? So
Right.
yeah, and it's interesting. It's a different episode because we see my guy T Day's in the office. He's in this nice dress shirt. He's look like he's at work because he is. This episode is just gonna be about being a young, successful Black professional and managing, work-life balance. So TJ, I mean, we went to Maryland together. I don't think I said that, but we went to college together, graduated the same year. TJ started off in a much different route than most people. So he was successful off the jump. I mean, not everybody, is just living large off of their first college job. So TJ, like, talk to me a little bit, I guess, about like, your college journey, a little bit because we'll be here all day, and just like how you got started professionally and like how this TJ Joyce came to be.
Yeah. I'm not gonna give like the full like in depth because like you said, we'll be here all day. We don't want that. But I came in like freshman year and I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and it turns out that wasn't what I wanted to do. But I didn't learn that from like on my own per se. I kind of just like talked to people, and people were like, "Hey, actually, you should think about this. You should think about that." And I had like what I'll say is like a ton of great mentors in college who were like, "Hey, you might want to consider this route, consider this route." And so like just talking to upperclassmen and being like really social and like having my older brother who helped out a ton, like I was able to kind of like figure out a career path that I wanted to hit on. And like for me, it was just like I knew where I wanted to go. I could kind of like move forward along that path before everyone else, right? So freshman year, I was working towards like where I am now, versus like some people were kind of like, oh, I want to be in that position, but they didn't really realize where they wanted to go until like junior year. And it's like, you think about like running a sprint, it's like you're kind of going in circles, not sure where you're going. I'm already like 50 yards deep to where like I'm trying to get to, and it's like there's nothing you can really do to catch up at that point. And I would just say like college was just sprinting, right? It was just like trying to get to that point where I wanted to be, and like luckily I ended up getting there. So it was good. But I think like the number one thing that was really important to me in college was just thinking and like deciding often and early where I wanted to go.
Yeah. So how much or how little or what's the percentage would you would give it that like college, your journey, collegiate journey prepared you for your professional life that you have right now?
As far as like the work or just like balancing like work-life balance,
Whatever you want to touch on, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think college can prepare you for the real world, right? You can take whatever class you want, and like you can sit on this too, right? Like you can learn whatever. Like they'll tell you on the job, like everything you learned in college is like that's like the theory of it, but in practice it's a lot different, right? So you have to be ready to learn. And I think like I came out of college ready to learn because I knew I didn't know much. But like other than that, it doesn't really prepare you, right? Like it doesn't. Like that's my short answer for it.
Maryland is tough. It's tough, but y'all weed out courses, microeconomics took me out twice. I got the same exact grade in that class twice. That class dogged me.
You wanna know what's funny though is that class gets a lot of people. That was what Econ 200.
That's 200.
And like for me, I hate to say it's like not trying to like brag or not trying to boast or anything like that, but I didn't show up to class, right? And like I think Amir and Daniel were in that class. I skipped every class I could and still pulled an A in it just because like it clicked, right? And like some things, it's like you just know whether you're supposed to be doing it if it clicks or not, right? It's just like it's like basketball, right? Like you can be like 5'2" and try as hard as you can, but like someone 6'5" is still gonna dunk on you, right? And it's like for me, like it just clicked. It was easy, but like if it doesn't click, it's just gonna be a struggle from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So just a little bit touch on like what do you do now? Like what kind of skills are you working on now? Like what kind of position do you like have now?
Yeah, I'll talk about kind of like what I'm doing, and then like I'm quitting my job in like a month, so I'll talk about like what I'm doing after that as well. Right now I work for a consulting firm, and like the long and short of it is like we help companies make more money. And like that can be a lot of different ways, but like we have clients. I obviously can't name our clients, but think of like your Fortune 500 companies like Apple, Google, Toyota, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Ford. I don't know, like the NBA, for example, like any like big organization you've heard of, like they'll come to us and like ask us for like a strategy. They'll say like, should we introduce this product, and like where should we introduce it? Like, should we enter this country? What should we price this product at? Should we buy this other company? Just like anything that involves making more money, or like how do we cut our costs? Anything that like involves them making more money or like saving money, they'll come to us and just be like, how do we do it? And we go out and like kind of formulate that strategy and then tell them like, hey, this is what you should be doing and this is how you do it. And so it's a wide range of topics.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of little niches where you can be a consultant. You just gotta like, find your niche. So I mean, it seems like that you found yours. And so this episode is about, work-life balance. And I had TJ on here because TJ does so much. I mean, one of the main things that TJ and I talk about almost, I think, every day is probably sports. We don't see each other, but we talk every day about literally everything under the sun. On top of he loves cars. TJ loves cars. And I mean, just aside from talking about sports, he always is in the gym, playing basketball, hooping, or just lifting. What else do you do when you're not grinding at 7:40 at night on a Monday at work?
But I mean, like you said, again, like all the things you mentioned take up a lot of time. Like between like work, like I try to get in the gym every day, whether that's like, except like maybe like a Saturday or Sunday, I might take the day off. Like at least Monday through Friday, I try to stay in. And whether that's like playing basketball and getting cardio in, or like whether it's lifting, like I try to do that all the time. And so that's like a lot of hours right there. But truth be told, like I try to surround the rest of my time with like hanging out with people and like doing stuff that interests me. So like, again, that's cars. I'll go to different like car meets and stuff like that. But it's also just hanging out with people, right? So like, there's like, I'm outside a lot, right? Like I'm a very outside person. Like you'll find me outside, right? Like long and short of it. So between like being social and just hanging out with people, it's like that takes up a lot of time.
I get that. You're an extrovert 100% all the way. Do you have a social meter? Like, do you ever like get drained from it?
Yeah.
Or the social activity is what fuels you?
Nah. It's like a combination, right? Because on one hand, like I can hang out with someone like you or like Amir, Daniel, whoever, like forever, right? Like we could like kick it all day. We could like go out, we could kick it the next day, whatever. But like when I start hanging out with people who are like not in like my top like 20, 30 friends, it's like, all right, like you got 4 hours, right? Like that's it. Like after that, like I'm sliding, I'm going home, I'm going to sleep, I'm taking a nap, whatever. But like it just depends on who I'm with, really.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's actually, so what do you, I mean, I know like the standard question, at least from like people who are older than us, they're like, oh, what do you want to do in 5 years? But like professionally, like, because you started and, you got to the bag quick, like not everybody comes out of college with their 6-figure consultant bag off the top, TJ. Like, you're pretty blessed. So I'm happy for you, but like where do you want to go? Like, where do you see yourself? If you even know, because I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know. And I did my last 5-year plan when I was in college, like senior year. And like, I'm tracking along that perfectly, right? I knew I wanted to come to the place I'm working now for 3 years, then go to like this thing called private equity for 2 years. I signed my offer there. I'm going to start this summer. I'll be in New York. So in like 2 years, hopefully like that'll be done, right? And I'll be at like an inflection point. And it's like, I might go to business school. I might like keep in the field that I'm in. I might, I don't know, do something completely different. Like, I don't really know. And I'm kind of just taking it day by day. And I feel like so many people try to like come up with these 5-year plans and we have to stick to it. But like, life happens, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't plan 5 years in advance. Like, that's the one thing I learned. Like, coming out. You can't do it.
What advice would you give someone who's like, maybe because you're in a more of a corporate setting, right? I just got out of that. Like, I'm in nonprofit now, and it's a whole different world than corporate, and I like it. I like where I am. I'm quite content. So you got what you got right now. But for someone who's like in, that corporate cycle, who's either trying to climb the ladder or just trying to like just make it, like you said, day to day, like what advice would you give about work-life balance, having a life, like, because right now, like I said, you're in the office, but like you said, you also like being outside. So
yeah, I guess there's a few different pieces of advice, right? Like number one is like And I know I just said don't come up with a 5-year plan, but like at least have some semblance of like where you want to be, like and what you want to do for your career, and like make sure that what you do aligns to that. It's like, and to use like basketball or football as an analogy, right? Like if you're gonna be like a wide receiver, you're not gonna practice every day like in a 3-point stance trying to rush the line, right? Like that has nothing to do with your position, right? So like don't take jobs and do things that don't align with like what you want to get out of your career and where you want to go. And like the other thing is like, and I really hate it about our society today, but like it's such a grind culture where everyone wants to like work hard and everyone's like, I'm gonna like out grind everyone else. And like in our parents' day, everyone just chilled, right? Like you worked your 9 to 5, you chilled, and like that was it. There was like no email, like you weren't like after 5 p.m. you were done. And I'm sure you can attest to this. Like you probably don't even work a 9 to 5, right? You probably work maybe like 9 to 5:30, or like even like you probably work some weekends. I know you were at a conference recently. You were in San Francisco. Like no one works a 9 to 5. Like everyone works hard, and I think that sometimes to get to where you really want to be, you're gonna have to sacrifice somewhere, right? Like nothing happens without sacrifice. So like you're gonna have to work hard, but like back to the other point, don't work hard for no reason, right? Like don't just like work some million-hour per week job if it's not getting you to where you want to be. Make sure that.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like you just brought a whole bunch of points, because I mean, at my last job, I was working 8:30 to 5:30, and I was in hell basically. I was so miserable just because I hated the work I was doing. Like the work that you're doing will make what you're doing every day, it'll make it awful. But this new job, I literally love it. So when they have me up, if I got to be on a call at 7 in the morning to accommodate for somebody's time, I literally would just be like, all right, well, just gotta get up, like, you know what I mean, like, yeah, exactly. Because the payout, like the benefit is good. So yeah, I think, I mean, I'm in a good spot too when it comes to professionally, you know, just having that balance. But it takes a while to get here, and like everybody's journey is different. Like I said, like TJ had a really good job right out the gate, but like I had to go through a couple jobs before I got to like where I'm at now. And like some people it takes even longer, or some people, like I said, is immediate and they just start like they elevate and climb the ladder. So like I think social media too, it makes it easy to almost like hate on people, because it's like, of course, anybody's always only posting the good stuff. So I'm like, all right, every time I see TJ posting, this man he's here, he's there, you know, he's got a promotion, he's this, and then you're thinking that your life is, you know, blah. But meanwhile, TJ's not sleeping. TJ has 12 hours of back-to-back meetings that he doesn't post about, because who's going to post about that? You know, he just had to get a red-eye flight, and now he has an 8 a.m. call. Like, you know, it's because he's a client. Like, you know, that's stuff that people don't see.
And it's so funny that you brought that up, because like no one on social media posts the L's we take, right? Like I take a million L's first and foremost. And like, let's be honest, like, you know this, like I work a lot. Now, like when I have fun and when I'm outside, like I'm outside having fun. And like, again, like I work hard, like I can afford to like spend the extra money here and there, right? Like I can like get an extra bottle in the club if I have to. I can like do the like longer vacation, stuff like that. I can like do whatever, right? Like, but it's like when I'm not like outside having fun, like I am working hard. And that's the thing that like, because that never shows on social media, like you don't see athletes, like you might see them post their like post-workout photos. You don't see their whole like 2-hour workout. Like Kobe said he used to work out 8 hours a day in the off season. Like you don't see that, right? Like,
yeah.
Game-winning shots, but you don't see the work. And for some reason, everyone thinks that like you can have like the success without like the hard work, and it's like it just doesn't happen. It might happen. You might get lucky somehow, but like it's really rare.
Yeah. And so let's shift, because we talked about it. TJ and I, we both love sports, and we all know why we're all here. Well, go ahead.
Before we do that though, I want to ask you the same question you asked me. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years, like 5-year range?
I have no clue. And I was saying about that the other day, actually, because my grandfather was like, you know, Jordan, he was like, you know, you're still young. I want you to go back to grad school before it's too late. And I was, that thing about it, I was like, this job that I have put me in a space where like I didn't know that this job was coming. I didn't know that I would like this job as much as I did. And like, I didn't know that this like side of the world existed. Like, so for people who don't know, I work in a nonprofit. I can speak on my job because I'm not leaving my job in a month. So I work for Heart Rhythm Society. We're leading the country in all the education, science, and advocacy for heart rhythm disorders. And I work on the digital products team. So basically anything with like our learning platform, our YouTube, anything digital when it pertains to anything with our company, it goes through me and my team. And I didn't realize, like, you know, it's actually fun. Like, I mean, I get to travel with this job. Like, you know, I get to just do different stuff, meet different people. And so now I'm like, should I, go back to school for something more catered to this, or something catered, to this field, or do I even need to go back, which is an argument people have, like going back versus, just keeping your bachelor's. And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I don't know. I think I'm definitely gonna stay in this field though. I think I'm gonna be at this job for a little minute. I like where I'm at. So, and I think that's the best thing too. Like when for anybody who's listening, like when work becomes not real work, and when work is like fun, or you wake up and you're just like, oh, I'm just signing onto a laptop, but you don't realize that you're actually working. Keep that job, or like stay where you're at, or like they're probably nurturing you, helping you grow. Like that's literally what you want out of a professional situation, because some of these spots can really really be bad.
Jobs are really bad jobs. Like,
yeah,
like really bad.
There are some, like, and I'm not gonna name them, but there are some major corporations that literally work their employees like slaves. And I have friends who work for them. I'm just like, you wouldn't think that this corporation would be doing that, but they do.
Yeah.
These
like, you think even like a normal like 9 to 5, which again, like I don't think a lot of people work 9 to 5s anymore. Like if you really think about it, if you're going to the office, which like a lot of people aren't because of COVID or whatever, but like if you were, like let's say in 2019, like you're spending more time at work than you are like in your personal life, right?
Yeah.
Like so it's like you're spending more time at work than you are around like your family, especially around your friends. Like at our age, it's like you don't see your friends every single day, and it's like you have to really enjoy work, or like see it as like a stepping stone to get to where you want to be for you to like stay at any job, right? Like if you don't like it, leave, get out. You're spending too much time.
And I think that's just our like mentality. Like I mean, we're not Gen Z. I don't know what we are, but we're in like that middle gap. But we're not staying at jobs 20, 30 years just because it's paying the bills. Like our generation is like, okay, there's a bunch of jobs out here that all offer the same thing. I'm gonna just go to this one, to this one, to this one, to this one. I mean, I think that I personally, for me, and I don't know if anybody feels differently, you might disagree, but like I try to stay at a job for a year at least, like unless like my last job I got out, but that's just because the door opened and I like walked through it, whatever. But 1 year at a job I feel like is long enough to get experience, gain knowledge, meet people, network, then you can bounce for real. And I think that our parents' generation didn't grow up like that. They just grew up like nose down to one job, but that's because they wasn't trying to give Black people jobs, so it was like the one job that you got, you held on to it, you know what I mean? But I think it's just too many successful there. See, the Buffalo shooting just happened, so it's crazy. Like I was talking to Daniel and Amir about this, because social media shines a light on people, and like you think that like the world is so small, but it's really not. So like, yeah, like I'm not minimizing it, but like to all the people who lost their life, 10 individual Black people like lost their life because of some reckless, racist hate crime.
Yeah.
And then you still have like, so it's like they're trying to kill us off, and they're trying to pluck us off like one by one, but you still have like so many like young Black people like literally rising up from the ashes, like literally just being great. Like I saw so many Black graduates over the weekend, but then we had to see 10 people get killed on TV at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's such a rough toss-up, being Black in America, being a Black professional, like constantly working hard, like knowing the people you work for might feel a way about you or not want you to succeed or whatever. So
I don't know if you remember, but like going to work in like 2020 when like everything was going on with the protests and everything like that, and like you're kind of looking around your like white coworkers and you're like, yo, like how are you feeling? Because like you might not feel how I feel, and then it's like it's not like, again, to me it's not like a political issue, right? It's like we don't like agree on that, like we can't, like there's nothing we can talk about, you know what I mean? And it's like
because it becomes more of just not even a race thing. It's just become like a human thing. Like like the shooting, the last shooting was literally just inhumane. Like it was a massacre.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
Like, and it's just like that's what we
not political issue. And it's like we can't agree on that, then we have nothing to talk about. Like I handed my badge and I'll quit, because it's like I'm not gonna work at a place where it's like you don't like you're not on the same page about this one thing,
Yeah, no, I get that. That's actually a good point that you brought up. Dang, you made it hard to segue now, because we were just talking about some serious stuff, and now I want to talk about the playoffs. So we got serious for a second, and we usually don't even do that. I don't know where that came from. I think it's because we're older now. TJ and I, we turned 25 this year. We're maturing. turning into upstanding citizens.
How different am I now from when I was like 17 as a freshman in college?
Gosh, you're actually very different. That's a good question to ask. You're very different, and I only say that because like if you knew if you knew TJ in college, like this, everybody knew TJ in college for one reason or another, and I'm not gonna like put it out there, but like everybody knew TJ for a different reason in college, and so I think it's really nice to see. But the thing about TJ though, he's right though. Like everybody knew TJ for X, A, B, or C. But TJ always worked hard. Like you knew, like you would find TJ after class, so you could catch him like before the party or like da da da. Like TJ would be in the library, but TJ would leave the library by like 7:00, so you could go to a pregame or something.
Yeah,
like he wasn't the type to like be. I've never seen TJ in the library all night. I've studied all night with some people. TJ was not one. So. TJ did what he had to do, but he was, like I said, he's one of those smart kids. He didn't have to either go to class, didn't have to study. Like he had it. But yeah, I think you're very different. I don't know. I just see the maturity though. I see the maturity, and you got more facial hair. So
yeah, the beard changed my life.
You look like a grown man now.
My whole oh my god.
But yeah, I definitely see the maturity. I see it, and I see. Well, I think it's because I spent a lot of time around you too, and just saw how you just were in your full-blown playboy bachelor college ways. But no, I'm actually very proud of the growth. You're doing well, TJ. Because aren't you a landlord too? Aren't you a landlord?
Yeah, I bought my first investment property 2020.
I bought my first investment property in the middle of a pandemic.
It was at the start. Great investment. I'm on my second one now, but great investment for a first one. I'm not. Things on your plate though, like you said, like it's just like I do more. I just can't be on joke time 24/7 like I used to be. And like like I never took anything seriously. You just have to take things a bit more seriously like as you get older. Like,
I mean, when you're an adult, like you're in college, like you're an adult, but it's in a confined space. Like you're confined to the walls of your college campus, or like however far the street goes or whatever. But like when you're legit like adult, out here in the world, all you have to do is like go to work and take care of your own responsibilities. It opens it. I was telling somebody, I was like, I can easily see how I don't want to be married right now. I don't want to have kids right now because there's so much stuff that I do that's so selfish. And I don't even think about it. And it's just like if I had a husband, like I would have to worry about him. No, I don't want to do. If I had kids, I gotta sometimes I just get up and leave the house.
Now, I gotta say something. I talked to my dad about this recently. Maybe a few months ago, whatever. But I had a roommate in DC who I work longer hours, right? So I would leave the house before him. Like he would be home. I would come back to the apartment and he would be home before me, right? And do you remember your parents when you would come home from work? First off, you had to have the chicken out. If you didn't, they were on you, obviously. But do you remember when they would just be go outside and they would just be get out of the house? It would just make me mad that it's I left the house and we were sitting there and I came back and you were still saying that get out, go go do something. Yeah. I couldn't imagine having a kid right now. I would just coming home every night. I would just be get out of my house.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People don't realize it. It's just you want to live your life, but when the consequences come, it's tough. But I was when I was in San Francisco and I was in a hotel. One of the mornings, it had to be 6 a.m. wake up for me, and one of a baby in another room started screaming, crying, and I was just shut up. And I was just oh man, I can't have kids right now. I don't. Wow. I'm not built for it. I'm not ready for it. And that's fine. I'm great with that realization. I'm glad that clicked for me. But yeah, it's tough, but I think it's fun too. Being a young adult is fun. We're not fully all the way there yet. You know what I mean? We're not 30, we're not 40. We're still very, very young and can still mess up and still not be in too deep. So
once we hit 30 though, it's gonna be a whole different ballgame. That's in 5 years, like you said. 5 years.
That's why we have to. Yeah, COVID took 2 years of our lives. Literally took 23 and 24. We're getting 25 back, but yeah. So we only have 5 years left to really, and that's gonna actually go quickly. So I plan to enjoy it. I plan to enjoy it. But you know what else I plan to enjoy? The rest of the NBA playoff. You see how I did that? Oh, that was
fire.
That was on the money. Because I mean, your man, and it's your man, Patrick Beverly, went on Get Up today and made a fool of himself. Literally made a fool of himself, talking about Chris Paul and Chris Paul ain't this and Chris Paul ain't that. But
oh god,
then the Timberwolves last play a game. It was like April 29th or something like this. It's been like 2 weeks since they played basketball. I don't even know why he's talking. Anthony Edwards on Instagram was like, "Oh, this is a disgrace." He was on I was just like, "You're on your couch right now."
But you know what I think it is though? Like Pat Bev is Pat Bev, right? Like you can't he's just a special case. Like you can't defend him. But as you know, Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite players. Like he's the GOAT, right? He's a young GOAT. But I think what it is about Phoenix though is that he just talks so much trash to everyone they play that everybody wants to see them fail. And I know you remember that clip of Bron, like he was talking crazy to Bron. I think it was campaign. And he was like, yo, be humble, because like a year and a half ago, you was at home, right? Like, be humble.
Stay humble now. Stay humble. Come on now. Maybe you was at home a year and a half ago. Now you want to pop off? Come on, don't do that. Now you want to talk.
Like, Braun was like dealing with them talking trash. Like, Anthony Edwards was saying that they were telling them, you got to make the playoffs. Like, I just think that team talks so much trash that they were laughing at Luka in the press game.
Yeah.
In the post-game presser. Like, I think everyone just hates them because they just talk so much trash, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and Jay Crowder, like, what the hell?
He was talking crazy to Draymond, and Draymond was like, yo, like, you're from a good neighborhood, Jay. Like, don't do that. Like,
yeah, like, I don't even know if, has Jay Crowder won the final? He was on that, I can't remember. He's been on a bunch of teams that have gone to the finals, but I don't know if he's been on a team that has, like, that year as they won. I can't remember.
I know he was on the Cavs when he lost. I know he was on the Heat when he lost to Bron.
Yeah, and now he's on the Suns last year when they lost.
Bro, he's a loser, bro. I hate that.
Loser. I am not a loser.
Yeah, he's been on a bunch of finals teams. He's gone a bunch of times, just never won it. And he just talks like he has all 4 of those rings. Like,
bro, he doesn't have one to his name. One.
I mean, Eastern Conference Finals, we got that set. So that's Celtics, Heat. Western Conference Finals, Warriors, Mavs. Who are you taking in both?
I think Warriors, Mavs. Give me a second on, but I think Celtics, Heat. I think the Celtics. I think it's maybe in 6, maybe 5. I don't see it going 7, but I got the Celtics for that one easy. The Heat played great defense and all, and I think their offense is probably like, it's really dynamic because everyone can score, so like you don't know who to stop. But the Celtics are really disciplined on D, and I don't know if they have an answer for JT, man.
They don't. And Amir was saying, he was like, "Oh, he's gonna have to drop 38 a night," and I was like, "But he can do that. He can do that. He's at that phase in his career where, I mean, Luka's at that phase in his career. We saw it. Luka is kind of more like a baby LeBron because his team right now, in comparison to all the other teams that are playing, are not. I mean, they're playing well, like, you know, but they're not the names like roster wise. I mean, like, you have Jalen Brunson. Nobody expected him to be playing as well as he is. You got Spencer Dinwiddie, who everybody knew was okay, but he dropped 30 off the bench. He's coming off the bench for a reason though. Like, it's not for no reason. And then you have I forgot the rest of their players. I know who they are though, but they're not elite. They're not Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Splash Brothers plus Draymond's mid behind. Jordan Poole.
I think that series can go 6 or 7 now.
I have it Warriors. I have it Warriors, period, but I just can't decide if it's going to be 6 or 7. Because you just don't know what you're going to get when it comes to the match. I don't know. Like I said, Spencer Dinwiddie gave you 30 off the bench last night. I don't know how you can expect that. Like, Luka gave you, I think he gave 38, like 7 and 5 or something like that off of 12 or 16 though. Like, it was a clean game. Like,
bro, over the series, he out-rebounded DeAndre Ayton over the entire series.
Yeah, and DeAndre Ayton only played 17 minutes yesterday, and Monty Booker was like, that's an internal.
Apparently, he and this is just a tweet I saw on Twitter. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently they were like in an argument on the bench, and he was like, "You don't look like you want to play. Like, are you sure? Like, I should just take you out or something like that." And he was like, "I don't want to play." And he's like, "All right, bet," and then benched him. Like, you guys in an argument. That's what happened. I don't know if that's true, but allegedly.
A lot of these players, I mean, if it is true or not true, but I could still say a lot of these players have just such egos these days. They just, I mean, clearly we see it with Pat Bev. I don't know where he got off thinking that he can just go on TV and just talk like he's a 6-time champion, a 10-time All-Star, like defensive player of the year. Like I don't. He's literally done none of those things.
Nah.
Has he even won a champion? I don't think so.
No, he's never won a chip. He's got a few defensive. I think he got one first team all defense. He got a few third teams.
He's an average guy.
Yeah, he's not horrible, but he's not like
he's an average guy. No, yeah. And like I said, the average person in the NBA can give you anybody buckets. Patrick Beverley can come to a neighborhood park and give somebody 80. But the point remains is that against the most elite stars, like he's not even. I don't even know if he's a third option on his own team because I don't even know what team is he on now. He's on the. Oh yeah, no, they got
everyone's an option before him.
Anthony Edwards. They got Cat. They got
Edwards.
I mean, that's 2 right there. So he's at least third option, but I think that there's probably more on their roster that take up. Yeah, I like the Celtics too. I actually really like the Celtics right now. Jason Tatum. Yesterday was just. I don't know. It's just the way that they were able to actually give Giannis his shots. Giannis was getting to the paint, but he wasn't making his shots. They were contesting or like flustering him or like getting a little body on him. And I don't know. They do that so well. They do it as a unit. And then it's like they come down and muscle you in the paint. And then they come back and like Pritchard is shooting a 3 in your face. Or like you have to worry about Al Horford. Al Horford? What is this, 2008?
You're like 15 now or something like that, or something like crazy. Like he's washed. He's old, but like
he's washed, and that's the thing. But he's solid.
He's having a phenomenal playoff.
But here's the thing. That's Al Horford from the Hawks. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
that's what people forgetting. That's Al Horford. Like
people forgot.
And that's the thing when you go in that phase, because some players are like not some. You have your LeBron, where you're just elite for just literally the entire time of your career. And I mean, everyone pretty much remembers every team that you've gone to. Then you got like Al Horford, where he, got average. I mean, but he was still NBA. But he went from team to team to team, bouncing around. He was at the Sixers. He came back to the Celtics. Like, he's been around, but he's been in the playoffs. Like, he can handle the smoke. So, I don't know. The Heat folded last year.
But the Heat, I think they have a great offense. They move a lot, they cut a lot, they set a lot of back screens, they do a lot of like isolated one-on-ones. They do a lot of different things on offense, which makes them hard to guard. But the Celtics, like, look at their defenders. You have Jason Tatum, who he played phenomenal defense against KD. Like, you saw it, right? There's no one of KD's caliber on the Heat. Like, let's be honest. Jaylen Brown, great on defense. Al Horford, Grant Williams, like the whole team is just stacked, right? Like, you just go through like 1 through 5, like. They're all great on defense, and it's going to be hard to score on that either way. I don't think we have an answer for them on defense. Like, I just don't see a way to win for the Heat. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a great series. I really wanted it to be Celtics Sixers just because I really thought like James and Joel were going to be able to rally, and I did. Like I did, but I can openly say that I was mistaken. Like,
fraud.
I was mistaken by a lot, actually. Because James played awful. James Harden played really bad. But at the same token, Kyrie and KD got swept. So, I mean...
Yeah, they did. I can't, yeah.
And KD played mid the last 2 games, which, were 2 of the close. I mean, not 2 of the close games, but they could have at least they could have won. I was like, I couldn't get 1 on the board? We couldn't get 1 game?
Hey, I agree.
I don't know. This year, the new NBA, I think I love it. I think I love this new. I mean, I love Ja. I love, the youth that the NBA has now, the talent, Anthony Edwards. I don't know. It's interesting because it's like, are the Warriors going to get back to their dominant ways? Because with Clay being out the league for 2 years, then coming back and just seamlessly fitting in, and now they're on pace to go back to the finals. Like,
I don't know though, because Clay is not old Clay. Don't get me wrong.
No, he's not old Clay, but he's still Clay though. But he's not old Clay. You're correct.
I think he's still Clay on the offensive end. Like, he's still gonna
the defensive fact took it back.
But he's not gonna strap your best player like he was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, that don't happen.
Yeah.
But Jordan Poole, like you got him coming off the bench as a scorer now. He can drop 30 any night. Like,
I mean, he's a baby. I say that just because of the whole sweat for the situation. But I mean, it was a perfect draft pick, and we don't I think I was telling somebody. I tell everybody this though. We don't give players. Well, I give players, but the world doesn't give them time to grow. Like Jordan Poole played at Michigan and got drafted. I forgot what year, but this is like his third year, I think, in the league. And everybody was like, "Oh, he's just popping off." And I was like, I don't know why everybody expects players in year one to be dropping like 25 and 5. Like that's
what's so wild about you saying that though is like that's all sports. And I think it's because of social media, because like you see the tweets, you see like the fans being like, the fans will tweet the GMs like a million times being like, hey, like cut this person, sign whoever, blah blah blah. But like that's like every sport now. Like if you're not good year one, people are like, yo, you're trash, draft this replacement. And it's like, yo, like you need to like give people a chance to develop. Steph wasn't like Steph until like how many years into the league?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even LeBron, even though he had the crown, like hovering over him, he didn't become LeBron like legit like the king. It took a couple years.
But even in like football, like Peyton Manning, his rookie year, I'm looking at it now because he had a crazy stat line. His rookie year, he threw 26 picks. He was 3-13. That was his record. Like,
wow.
Any other QB like in 2022,
they're getting cut the next year. They're not gonna have a job.
And they're saying draft the next player. And it's like you could have just cut like Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? Like one of the greatest of all time because he didn't figure it out in his first year. Like that's crazy. Like the expectations today are just crazy. Everyone wants everything like now. And that's not how things happen.
So, and as we talk about expectations, like, I mean, I feel like you're a good person to talk about expectations because you're a Ravens fan. And I don't know how high or low your expectations are for the upcoming season, but I would like to know. I think y'all lost like how many starters this past year to injury in a matter of like 2 weeks. Like it was something crazy. So what are your expectations for this year? Like give me a record prediction. Let's start there. Give me a record prediction this year.
Ooh, I can't remember the schedule off the top of my head, but I remember it wasn't too strong.
Forget the schedule. You don't need to know the schedule. You know what kind of squad you have. You got Lamar.
Nah, but what I will say though is that like I think our offense will really struggle this year. And like it sucks because I know Lamar's in a contract year. I think Lamar deserves $40 million. I think he deserves whatever he asks for.
Yeah.
Like, give him a blank check. He deserves it. Like, I'm fully for that. But I already know, like, when, like, the passing game inevitably struggles this year because, like, you just don't have the deep threat and you can be more aggressive on defense. Like, the passing game is going to suffer. And, like, it's going to be like, oh, Lamar's not good. Lamar's regressing, blah, blah, blah. And, like, that's going to be, like, the casual opinion that everyone's going to throw out. But, like, once you break down film, you're just going to see that, like, there's just less holes to throw to because of the way they'll play us. It's going to be unfortunate. But, like, I think, like, our defense will be fine. Like, I think our defense will be great. We're getting back our whole defense, basically, right? Like, we have a new safety who I think is going to, like, we have 2 new safeties, right? We have Kyle Hamilton, and then we have, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name from the Saints. Like, our defense will be fine. I think we'll be great, but just putting up points that I'm just really concerned about. I really am.
Yeah. I mean, and we saw a little bit of that last season, just like, I mean, and because you have Lamar, like he would will you guys back to some games, because I was watching some of them and it was just like y'all will be down and then like Lamar comes fourth quarter, saves a day and like scores a game-winning touchdown or something crazy like that, or y'all would lose a heartbreak, like Lamar tries to get her down the field and y'all just fall short or whatever. That's because I feel like the Ravens, y'all field is smaller. Like when you don't have receivers, and like I'm not saying or anything about your receiver that you do have, but when you don't have,
I'm not saying they're garbage. Like they're garbage. Like let's be honest. Like,
when you don't have receivers, it shortens the field because who are you throwing it to? Like, or when you have, because even if you play with them on Madden, right? Like it's literally just the Lamar and Mark Andrews show. Yeah. And like that's cute for a video game, like when you can just throw to one person and just like only they'll catch it. But in real life, they're gonna be like, all right, we're just gonna double Mark, or we're just gonna triple Mark, or we're just gonna run a zone and just like watch him and just like shadow him, like. And then when your number one receiver, he's not anymore, when your number one receiver is literally 5'7", and 190 pounds soaking wet. If
He was
that,
fast. He was
like,
fast though.
he's fast, but he's small. TJ,
Yeah, he is.
I could see if he's like, I mean, even if he was Odell's height, Odell is 5'11".
No, they're not in the same category. Like Odell is like a normal sized human. Like
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like if because Odell has off the line speed. He'll beat you off the line. I think Marquise was way quicker. But I'm saying if Marquise was 5'11" in that speed, I feel like it would have changed like his height. Literally, I mean that small thing, like bro, because he didn't have hands. That's what I'm saying. So if you don't have hands and you're short and you're not tall, but you're fast, what do you really have? What do you just you should just put him at a running back, man.
Oh, you're wild.
Like put him in the jet sweep.
Can you imagine him going through the A gap? He would get smacked. He would get tackled one time.
Bro, he's this big. In comparison to an NFL defensive end linebacker, he's this big.
He would break. Like, let's be honest.
Literally would be broken. So it's just like, where do we put you? Like, so at this point, Marquise, I need you in the gym working on your hands, because they already saying every other week that Lamar can't throw. When we know that he can. He can throw the ball short, throw the ball deep. He can, play action. He can.
We don't have him anymore. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that when y'all had him, now y'all have, Rashad Bateman, Duvernay. Y'all didn't use Duvernay. I didn't see him really get used.
He was a kick return, I said.
And that's the thing too. I feel like you just got to give these young receivers a chance. Like, I mean, like y'all don't have a choice now. Like y'all have to play them, give them a shot. I think you guys are gonna struggle too. It'll be interesting to see you guys' division really, because like I said in an earlier episode, I mean, you got y'all with Lamar, you got the Browns with Deshaun and Amari Cooper.
Jarvis is out.
But he got Amari Cooper.
I know.
And Nick Chubb. And then you got, I mean, the Steelers are the only question mark. And I mean, I guess that's good for you, but who's their quarterback?
Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee Harris, Mason Rudolph, Chase Claypool. I think he's overrated.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky, that's who it is. Yeah, Amir swears that the Bills coaching staff groomed him and trained him, and he's a better quarterback now, but I have to believe it before I see it. And then you got Joey B. Just came off Super Bowl high. He lost, but I mean, Super Bowl is Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's Joyce.
Yeah, your division is actually kind of low. The AFC itself is loaded. Tons of young talent. Y'all just got Russell Wilson. You got Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Who else? Josh Allen.
What division is that? It's Broncos and Russell Wilson. It's the Chargers. It's the Chiefs, and it's the Raiders. That division is gonna be a movie this season.
Well, that's what I was debating, whether the AFC West is better than the AFC North. Like that's gonna just determine if Mitch Trubisky if he can keep up with you guys. Because if he can't, then it's gonna easily be the AFC West. Because I mean that's a nightmare. I mean Derek Carr is the bottom of the pack, but Derek Carr is better than Mitch Trubisky.
Don't forget.
Yeah, and that's his that was his quarterback in college. Yeah. So that's a whole different.
That's a movie.
A different connection that they're gonna have. They're gonna be real. I think they're gonna be successful. I said that. I called it. I was like, Devontae leaves. He's going to play with his guy from Fresno State. Why not? So yeah, I think I'm not getting into the Cowboys. Like I'm actually refusing to talk about them. But I think the Ravens.
I'll look on that. What do you think?
Nah, I can't even. I don't know. I don't know. I think the Cowboys, honestly, they've never given me a reason to believe they were going to win anything. I think they were going to be above average for like the next couple of years, and that's not going to mean anything. Like, who cares if you go to the playoffs for the next 5 years? What are you going to win? Am I going to see an NFC Championship? Probably not.
Do you think Dak takes the next step though this season? I think that's who everyone's looking at to see like if the Cowboys can go far.
It depends. I have to see how we're going to move without Amari, because Dak has not had him, but he's had him for a good majority of the time, and they have a really good bond. Like him and like Amari is literally the guy who's won us plenty of games in his time. Just because Dak was throwing it up and like, all right, Amari's down there somewhere, like he gonna catch it. Like, so I want to see how he handles like our receiving core now. It'll be interesting. Zeke is on a decline, so because his knees are giving out. Well, his knee. It was one knee. He's turning into Todd Gurley.
Was it last season or what the season before when he came back and everyone was like, oh, it's the old Zeke. And then like 6 games in and it was just like, all right, this is back to old.
It was this past season. Yeah, because we started 5-1. And everybody was like, "Oh, the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl," and I was just like, "All right, I'll see y'all in February," because I know my team better than any of y'all know. And looking at the NFC, I mean, I don't see how we're gonna measure up.
You guys will still make the playoffs, though, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. We'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, and even we could, I mean, depending on how the chips fall, if we ever just had good enough season to have a first round bye, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to that divisional round, we're probably gonna fold. Like, we should have beat the 49ers. There's so many ways that we should have beat them in this year's playoffs, and we didn't. But I'm glad that we did it, because we would have got smacked the next round. So it's just like,
well, the 49ers are good, though. Like, they're wishy-washy, but when they're on, they're really on. Like,
yeah, and this is just one of those years that they were on, but in that game that we played versus them, we also could have been on, and we just were not. And that's just the story of the Cowboys. Like, I don't know if Dak will ever take that next step. I think that's okay. I think that's probably like sounds weird to say, but like, not every quarterback is gonna be like Joe Namath.
That's facts. Yeah.
Like, not every quarterback is going to be Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Like, there's going to be some elite quarterbacks. There's going to be some trash quarterbacks. There's going to be some above average quarterbacks. Like, he's not trash. Like, he's better than Mitch Trubisky. I'm picking him like over, I'm trying to think. I'm picking him over Teddy Bridgewater. I'm picking him over Jameis, or like, you know, some of the other guys who are just average in today's league. But like, Josh Allen, better than him by leaps and bounds. Like, Joe Burrow, better than him by leaps and bounds. Like, you know, like Lamar, like, won MVP after taking the starting job. You know, like, you know, like
Herbert's bad too. Don't forget Herbert.
Yeah, like, yeah, Herbert. Like, you can't compete where you don't compare. So I mean, as long as he can win us, if he can win me 10 games a year, I don't care. Like, if he can do that with limited turnovers, I really don't have a problem. But I just don't think we'll ever win. And so that's the life of a Cowboys.
You don't think you'll ever win? You don't think you'll ever win with Dak?
I don't think we'll ever win.
Like, do you think you'll see a Super Bowl in your lifetime?
I don't think so. I'm not confident about it, actually.
Oh, that's bold.
Because you have to think about it. Windows, they close quickly. Unless you have an elite team or a leader, like with Lamar. No, let me back. If Lamar was my quarterback, I would be confident that in like the next couple of few years, whatever his contract is, or that he would resign, we would go to the Super Bowl at some point, because that's like Lamar, you know, like, and we have just a accompanying roster that could, you know, really elevate him. But I mean, the Cowboys going would be a true team effort. It would be the defense having to play well, Dak having to have a good year, receivers and running back having, and we're just never gonna, I mean.
No, I'm saying eventually Jerry Jones is going to retire, and like Dak will be gone.
No, eventually he's going to have to. I can't say it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but like, yeah, like eventually, and then you'll move on from Dak in like maybe the next like 10 years. Like, you'll see a Super Bowl sometime in your lifetime.
Man, listen, bro. Legit, my grandfather is an Eagles fan, and he didn't see a Super Bowl until he was in his late 70s.
I would cry.
Because they just won in 17.
Yeah.
And my granddad just turned 80 and he just turned 80 this like last year. So he was in his late 70s, and he's been an Eagles fan his entire life.
That's a miserable life.
And that's the life that I'm already a quarter of the way in almost. Haven't even seen the NFC Championship. A conference championship game. So I haven't even seen the divisional win.
You haven't been to the NFC chip at all?
No. Not since 1995 or 97, whatever.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, we haven't been back since the back-to-backs, the dream team, whatever. Nah, we haven't been. No, we've lost in the wild card every time. Well, we've won once, but we lost in the division. We've never won a divisional.
Well, you got Tony Romo, who, like, again, kind of like that, like good quarterback, but not like elite quarterback, like not like top two.
I'm actually taking Dak over Tony Romo, which might sound crazy, but I am.
Ooh.
That's and I think part of that too is because Dak is black, which, you know, that's implicit bias, whatever. But I just think that Dak is just a much more mobile quarterback, and when you're mobile, it just opens the doors for your offense to you know, like, that's why Lamar. It was part of the reason why he's so great, is because you don't know whether. whether he's gonna spin out and run for 80 yards, or whether he's gonna throw it for 60 yards, and then you'll have to recalibrate, and then he rushes for the first down, and then gets the first, and then it's like you're never off the field because you have a mobile quarterback. So yeah, he's like, I mean, probably one of the greatest we'll ever see do it, in my opinion. But nah, this was good though. I actually appreciate you coming on the show, TJ.
Yeah,
taking the time.
I'll be back when we talk about LeBron being the GOAT for the second time. I'll be back for that.
Yeah, I'm gotta get you and Ryan back on here because I mean it's been getting crazy. Social media, it always gets funny when he's out the playoffs and just seeing how people will react and how they move. So I'm interested to see the rest of these playoffs. TJ made his pick. TJ, you didn't say if it was Warriors or Mavs. You didn't say.
Oh, I got. Who do you have? Who's your pick? The Warriors?
I'm Warriors Celtics. That's my finals pick.
I'll take Celtics Mavs. I don't want to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, Warriors. I'm doing Warriors and I'm saying Warriors in 6, Celtics in 7. If I had to make a prediction.
That's what I'll say. I'll say Celtics in 6, and then Mavs. I think I'll say 7.
Yeah, I would say 7 if you pick him Mavs.
But what I will say though is that it all depends on like Luka, right? If he has to run through a million screens all game, like he's not gonna have the energy on offense. But if like they get the younger guards like the Jalen Brunson and all that, like if you get them running around, they'll be fine. But if it's like Luka fighting through those screens, he's gonna be cooked. Like he's just gonna be too beat up. But we'll see. It just depends on what he do.
We'll see. But like I said, my guy TJ, I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping in, talking sports with me, talking, work-life balance, professional, being a young black GOAT in the making. So I appreciate the time. This is your girl Jordan, aka Jay, giving you the play-by-play each and every week. And I'm back, so I'll see you guys next week. Peace.